Here we are then for one final time in the first half of the 2022 season. Well, for Formula 2 it is a little bit different, because after this we only have 3 rounds left. We are here for round 10 of 14 here at the Hungary. And as we said, it'll be the halfway stage in Formula 1, which means we'll be all heading for a nice summer break after this. This is the shortest lap, or one of the shortest laps on the calendar, 14 corners, and of course notorious for the lack of overtaking, but it's also notorious for another reason. It is one of the bogey tracks of the Jackson siblings. Aiden has struggled in the practice session this weekend, and Callie has not done much better. She only qualified 10th, but that does mean she's on pole position. But even with that advantage, Callie and Aiden are entering damage limitation mode at one of their bogey tracks for the season. So it is a perfect opportunity in Formula 2, especially for Liam Lawson to close that gap on Callie Mayer's lead at the top of the Formula 2 Championship. A championship where she has proven to be thoroughly consistent. Liam Lawson gets the 2 extra points for pole position, starting the week off right for him, and Yuri Vips will be with him on the front row. But the top 10 are of course reversed, so that means Callie Mayer's on pole alongside Jehan Derivale. Finally we get to see Felipe Dragovic towards the front, and even Amuyu Iwasa has had the better of Callie Mayer today, or over the course of the weekend. Caldwell will be with Porsche. Callum Williams is in third, looking to bring the Trident back to the front. They've been a bit hit or miss in the last few races. Everyone from 11th down will start here in the feature race. Marino Sartor will be there in the Virtuoso car, and bringing up the rear will be Amaury Cordial. So, where will Callie Mayer finish? That is the question this weekend. And of course, as we said, she's relatively struggled this weekend to just get up to speed, really. She's been outside the top 10 for the majority of the weekend. Very much like Aiden Jackson in the Audi Sport car. I guess to kind of give fairness to Jackson, he is running warm power units for this weekend, as obviously we'll state in the pre-race show tomorrow. With Mickey Hackett really doing well in the other Audi Sport car, and of course that has caught the eye of everyone this weekend, that everything else has pretty much gone unnoticed after Mika's impressive debut in France, where he finished 5th, and Aiden Jackson was just about lucky to hold on to that point scoring run of his, finishing 10th. It doesn't really look like that's going to be the case this weekend. People expecting Jackson probably not to even run in qualifying and be towards the back of the grid. There's no real point wearing that Audi engine out anymore, so he might as well just start maybe even from the pit lane. But Audi are really going to be stingy. They really have been stingy with their power units this weekend, in particular with Jackson. They just do it to avoid penalties later in the season. And well, we speak of Audi, and of course we mentioned earlier that the konnersport partnership back in France, and Callie could be taking a bit of a different career path if the rumours are to be believed. She will spearhead the new Formula Academy next season as one of the main drivers for it, running a konnersport themed delivery on her car, which is very much what Audi will be doing for those support races next year. That is only a rumour, however, but everything will be clarified after the summer break, so watch this space for that. But we do have a couple of races. We have 3 races to focus on this weekend, and just how far, how much Callie can do here. She's got the definite advantage in this. This is the best position for her this weekend. She's going to have it tough in the feature race, so she really needs to win this one, failing that, finishing on the podium. But she is ahead of both championship contenders, Liam Lawson and Richard Verschoor, and even the outside outlier in Dennis Hauger. And we know Lawson could come through the field. He did that back in Spain, I believe. So really anything could happen here. We had a crazy race last season, of course, with Esteban Ocon winning the Grand Prix after a game of bowling at the first start. So here come the 5 red lights. Hopefully we won't get that today for today's sprint race. It's lights out, and away we go, and it seems a pretty even start. Callie seems to have got away really well. How has Derivale done? Derivale's got off really slowly, I think, but is he going to gain an advantage down into turn 1? There is the other Kramer? I think it is. It says he was as third. Obviously, that's Callie's teammate in the Dams car. Derivale has actually taken the lead from Callie, so he obviously got a better the second phase of the start and leads out of turn 1, followed by the 2 Gams cars of Amuyu Iwasa. Caldwell's up to 4th. Drogovic has already dropped to 5th, so I think he had a poor start. Porsche is at 5th. Dennis Hauger in the other Prema is in the final points playing position, and that means Liam Lawson will score no points, and for the championship that could be crucial. At a track where the Jackson siblings in particular have been particularly kind of weak at, let's say, not their strongest tracks for sure. They struggle with the characteristics with their driving style. But here today, Cali has the prime champion's advantage in this sprint race, being the only one of scoring points at the moment, because for sure is down towards the back, and Dennis Hauger is only getting 1 point, and he's pretty much the outlier in this season's standings at this very moment. So Daruvilla leads from Mayer. It was his third, followed by Caldwell. Drogovic, Porsche, Vips, Hauger, Sato, Lawson, Novalak. Tadeo Caldwell on his 12th, followed by Jack Doohan, Callum Williams in the second Trident. Sargent, Boschong, a little bit higher up than he's used to being. He's sadly been down towards the back for the majority of this season. Fittipaldi, Vesti, Hughes, Vershaw, Cordial and Armstrong, and that is your field of 22 to begin that too. Marcus Armstrong has fallen to the back somehow. I think he was about 50 or 60 on the grid, so how did he end up down there? Looks like we're going to get some replays of the start. And here's the Daruvilla. And he didn't get away particularly well, struggling through the gears. He actually didn't think he missed a gear, it sounded like, but he got a better second phase of the start. Look how much speed he gained on Cali Mayer down the inside into turn 1. It's almost like Cali almost also struggled with getting up through the gears. And it's been a problem with the starts this year. A lot of people have been having problems in the practice starts this weekend. Well, Cali did sound to get off okay. I think she lost a bit of drive. That's how she had Daria and Daruvilla down the inside of the first corner. And she just lost drive somewhere. I'm not really sure how or why, but she'll take that because she's still on for some points in this race. A track which she's not been particularly strong at. Here's the start for Marcus Armstrong. And look at that. Oh, he's really struggling with the revs there. No wonder he fell to the back. Marcus Armstrong really struggling through the revs there. It almost felt like he wouldn't change gear for a moment there. I think he might have got his hand crossed on the gearbox. It's semi-automatic, but you still have to press the paddles on the back to change gear, especially in these cars. But, well, DRS is enabled now. It's going to be rather superfluous, to be honest. And Cali is off the track. That's Cali Mayer off the track. She's already struggling, and that is, that's just made the pendulum swing the other way now. Because Cali's only on for 1 point. She's dropped to 8th. And everyone now moves on to place. Caldwell is taking advantage and passed Iwasa somewhere up into second place. So only Caldwell was having a race with Iwasa as they're side by side. Let's come back to that, please. We have. And Caldwell's held the advantage there. Well, what happened to Cali? Hopefully we'll get a replay of that at some point. Here we go. And she's kind of minding her own business. Takes a bit of curve on the inside, but she can't turn left to get off the curb, and the car does not comply with that. And she ran out on an auto spin curve, as the F1 gamers would call it. And she has spun as a result, but she is only down in 8th place. But already Cali is struggling with this circuit. But I think it was just that the car would not go off the curb. I think that was probably her own individual error more than anything else, running on that curb for too long. And she will be giving that curb a ride berth for the rest of the race. So Ollie Caldwell is second, and he's got a whole train behind him because J.R. Daruvilla has checked out and looks odds on to win this race now. I think he's got a 4-second lead over Ollie Caldwell in the Campos. And he's gone. That's J.R. Daruvilla, who won the... he won a race in Bahrain, didn't he? I remember him winning a race in Bahrain. I think it may have been the feature race for Daruvilla. Prema had a double win that weekend. Dennis Hauger took the other one. So now this is interesting. Where is Lawson in terms of a championship battle? He is still 10th at this very moment. And Mayer now has to deal with some dirty air from cars in front of her now, and that's really not going to help her cause for this race. This is damage limitation for Callie May this weekend. She's been struggling mostly through the practice session and was outside the top 10 in 11th place. She's just not looked at it this weekend and was 10th in qualifying. And the Rivulet has gone. Well, even with DRS enabled, overtaking can be notoriously difficult. Of course, a fastest lap would help Callie here, and we know she's been particularly fast as it comes to the fastest lap, but here today, she's not really been setting the timing screens alight in any sort of fashion, to be fair. So it might be one of those rare occasions where Callie doesn't get the fastest lap. Of course, if she was to get it, she would earn it. She's in the top 10. Really could do with Liam Lawson having it at the moment. And the man scoring no points in this race so far. He needs it. He needs to get past Sato, quick, sharpish. Because if he does, and he manages to pass the struggling Callie Mayer, then he'll be on for a point. And that'll bring it down by about, I think the lead Callie has is, I think it's 23 points at the top of the standings. And there's Callie off the road again, and Liam Lawson takes advantage, diving down the inside, and Callie is struggling to stay on the racetrack. In a rare occurrence, Callie Mayer is struggling here. She's now out of the points completely. Oh dear. And she is just struggling to stay on the circuit right now, let alone anything else. And in a rare event, Callie Mayer is actually struggling. Again, she's really just minding her own business. Oh, she gets too much revs out of the bottom of the corner and takes to the grass. She gives Liam Lawson plenty of space. That's very well. Good race her over Calvin. She didn't give the MP Motorsports car that much space. She was less gracious with the space when it came to Novolat passing her. But she gave Liam Lawson plenty of space, as you probably would expect. You know, doesn't want to be hit with the stigma of taking out her championship rival. Even though she wouldn't take them out intentionally, of course. That's the last thing she'd probably want. So just too much revs out of the final penultimate corner there. And the car just not complying with anything she wants to do, quite frankly. And even at the final corner, she was struggling. She will have DRS, though. Now, Liam Lawson, this could be a crucial situation. Callie has responded by setting the fastest lap. So that's just typical. She goes off the track and then goes immediately into a fastest lap. And that might stand for the rest of the race, because everyone from Coldwell down is in a DRS trait. And the racing has not been particularly fun to watch in DRS trains like this. But of course, Formula 2 cars are equal spec. Every car is exactly the same, bar liveries. And the liveries are mostly through your academy that you are affiliated with. Audi have only just set up theirs, so Callie won't be having one for the whole of this year. But if she is to take part in the Formula Academy next year, for the first ever inaugural season of the Formula Academy, where 20 of the best young women drivers will compete for the championship, there is a strong possibility that Callie will be running a konnersport livery that will be on the Audi car at the supporting races. If the rumours are to be believed, of course, and that is the career path. But Callie's not focusing on that right now. She's got a championship to defend, and right now she's not really failing in that regard as such, because Liam Lawson is on for no points. But he could pass Marino Sato at a moment's notice. As for everyone else, Dennis Hauger, and there's someone, is that Callie going wide in the final section there again? She probably took too much revs out of the final corner that time. She's even struggling to stay around. No, but Liam Lawson around the outside of Marino Sato, and this could turn into a perfect advantage for Liam Lawson. It does, and I think Sato has lost drive in his car, and that would explain it. And, well, that's just turned Callie Mayer's day into a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, as Sato makes it, gets in the way, but he's pulled off the track. He couldn't really go anywhere else, to be honest, so it wasn't really his fault, but he's caused a bit of a gap there. So now, Callie May has got to look at Liam Lawson getting a point here, but Callie will get the extra point for the fastest lap, so that'll cancel each other out. So the lead will stay as it was before the start of this race. And for Callie May, that's the best case scenario. She's struggling on the brakes there. She's struggling with the car. This is the most struggling Callie May has had all season. Really rare and kind of unfortunate. But that fastest lap could prove to be crucial come the end of the season. Because of course the end of the season is Abu Dhabi, another track where Aiden Jackson and Callie May have struggled for the most part. Jackson struggled in the final race of Formula 2, if you remember, where he was beaten convincingly to the title by Mick Schumacher, who dominated that race. In fact, Mick Schumacher dominated all bar one of the feature races, and it was here that he actually had an engine failure. Mick Schumacher, that is. The only feature race Mick didn't win was in Silverstone, where Prema really kind of messed up with the tyre strategies. A year later, he and Jackson were both Haas teammates here, and Jackson was struggling with his ERS at the time. Of course, you can forgive Jackson because he was in a very underdeveloped Haas in 2021, but still made the best of it with that Grand Prix win at Monza. And that was only a couple of races later. So, J.R. Derivative has checked out. We've got 5 laps to go. He is pretty much odds on to win this race, but now can Liam Lawson make some more headway? So Dennis Hauger ahead of him. Now, yes, they are both running Red Bull liveries, but they are not teammates. They are just part of the Red Bull Drivers Academy, as is this man, Amuyu Iwasa, and so is this man. So many Red Bull livery cars this year. It looks like a second series for Red Bull drivers. Every single one of them is talented enough. Liam Lawson in particular, I think, will be probably making his way into that AlphaTauri seat for next season. There is a space possibly opening up at AlphaTauri because there are strong rumours that Pierre Gasly, could be going to Alpine for 2023. So maybe, if Liam Lawson does take the championship, you have to feel that Lawson would be a shoo-in for that AlphaTauri seat in 2023. Rumours that they could actually be changing their name for 23. Would be interesting. Maybe even 24. Of course, other rumours involving Daniel Ricciardo possibly going there as well. There's even been a slight possibility for Nick de Vries. He's being looked at. So, plenty of driver moves and possible outcomes. Of course, we already know that Oscar Piastri, Formula 2 champion from last season, is in a bit of a contract dispute between himself, McLaren and Alpine. And where that will end up seems to be most likely that McLaren will be his destination. That will be put before the contract renegotiation board, and we'll know on the weekend of the Belgian Grand Prix, which will be after the summer break. That could cause a bit of a domino effect everywhere else, because that's where the rumours for Alpine and Gasly have come from. If they lose out to Piastri, then they could be looking at Pierre Gasly, which would make sense. He is a race winner, of course. In the 2020 Italian Grand Prix, he beat the odds, very much like Jackson did in 21, at the same track, ironically. I mean, if McLaren lose this to Piastri, which seems very unlikely, they'll most likely keep Daniel Ricciardo. But you know what I would like? I would like to see Aiden Jackson and McLaren. I really would. McLaren or Aston Martin. I mean, he's doing great with Audi right now, but we'll have to see if his Mercedes door is still open in a couple of years, which seems to be most likely the case. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have been penned in on multi-year deals. So that is why Jackson is at Audi right now. But if it is true about Audi and their project prototype kind of idea that could be running this year, definitely, because they're there, and maybe for next year, under Konnersport's banner, as a technical partner, that is. Where would Jackson end up after that, do you think? We'll have to see. Of course, if Audi still want to pursue their deal with Sauber, which I think would be the right thing to do, don't forget these Audi cars in there are prototype units, as they will look to confirm during the summer break as well. We'll be having more news on that deal. Hallie Mayer, to be fair, is rather in a rhythm now. She's actually doing pretty well, sticking with Liam Lawson ahead. So it looks like she's got a rhythm now, but even out of the final corner, Callie is struggling. She is fighting that car. She's fought it all weekend. It just isn't going right for her so far. But very much like Max Verstappen, she's adapting very well to it. It's just a shame that she's run off the track a couple of times, but she's been very fair at giving the places up she can't fight. She will get a point for the fastest lap if she keeps it. I can't wait for the summer break to be over, because we're going to have so much information to bring to you on the eve of the Belgian Grand Prix weekend. It's going to be crazy. We've got more details of the Audi Konnersport deal. We've got where Oscar Piastri might end up and what domino effect that will cause. The likes of Alpine, and if it's true about Gasly going there, what that will do for AlphaTauri, and if Liam Lawson will be picked up. There's so much to digest when we get there. It's going to be fun, and well, it's going to be a crazy second half of the season in both sports. We'll have 3 rounds left in Formula 2. Callie Mayer trying to have damage limitation on her weekend this weekend. As her objective, that is. We've got Mika Häkkinen for Audi, possibly for the rest of the season. Strong possibility that Mika will stay on beyond this weekend. And I think, judging on his early results, I think that would be almost a no-brainer at this point. Liam Lawson has closed in on Dennis Hauger. Now, Dennis Hauger and Liam Lawson are running very Red Bull liveries, but that doesn't mean Hauger is obliged to let him through. They're not teammates. They're just running the same livery as part of the Red Bull Driver Academy. I think the technical partnership between Konnersport and Audi will make sense, considering that's where Audi have got their kind of development program from. Oh, and Callie's off the track again in the background. I think Callie just went for a slide there. I think she's going to be okay. I don't think she's lost out to Novalak. But Callie Mayer is just struggling all over the road at the moment. She's had a very below par race. Not for really her fault, but yeah. She's going to get the extra point for the fastest lap still, though, as she is still in the top 10. Marcus Armstrong's actually not passed anybody, because he had a very slow start. Marcus Armstrong, so he's going to finish last. Strong possibility that Marcus Armstrong could be going to IndyCar for next year. That could be an interesting one. Unfortunately, we don't have an IndyCar game, so we can't bring that to you, which would actually be quite fun. I myself remember playing a couple of IndyCar games on the very first Xbox system. That is the only IndyCar game I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of NASCAR ones. Anyway, back to the race. Jehan Daruvla is about to win by a postcode. He's pretty much dominated out front today. Of course, tomorrow we'll probably have more of an infamous tyre bug of F1 23. And that might shake things up. So for Sato, that actually might be a good thing that he's retired early. Because that means he'll have fresher tyres than everyone else, because that's how the tyre bug kind of works in this game. It's a pretty frustrating one. And Jehan Daruvla, well, he's up by about 5 seconds. And has absolutely dominated proceedings today. But there's not going to be no real championship swing whatsoever. Oh, hang on. Lawson is, he was already 8th, wasn't he? Yep. I don't think he's passed Haugi yet. So, in a weekend, well, Callie Mayer probably should have done better from pole position, you could argue. But, to be fair, she was always going to struggle. But she'll be happy with the fact that her and Liam Lawson have not even lost... Well, she hasn't lost a point to Liam Lawson at all. Because Liam's only about to get a point, and Callie will get an extra point for a fastest lap. But meanwhile, Jehan Deruva wins this race by a postcode. He's dominated from start to finish. And run away. And there is everyone else, more or less. A whole train led by More Cordial. Well, the Hungary was always notorious for its lack of overtaking, and in equal spec cars, that's even more apparent, as no one really gained anything. It was only Callie Mayer that was falling down the table in a rare event. But it's not going to really mean much in terms of the championship, because she has got that extra lap bonus point, fastest lap bonus point, and Liam Lawson will have a point to himself, finishing 8th position. So there you go. Wow, Callie finishes 11 seconds behind the leader from pole position in probably her worst performance of the weekend, the year so far, which is probably to be expected, to be fair. And Yuri Vips up there in P6. Dragovic fell down a place because he lost out to Iwasa, probably in the first corner. Tadano Cordovan just very unlucky to be just outside the top 10 behind Novalak there. Jack Doohan and Logan Sargent, two noticeable names. Logan Sargent, of course, could be picked up by Williams next year in a kind of event that was probably unexpected, but he is a Williams Academy driver, so that would be the next logical step if he is to replace the possible outgoing of Nicholas Latifi then. So much to sort out at Spa, I can tell you. So, 22 points between Callie Mayer and Liam Lawson. No change at the top. Dennis Hauger's probably the biggest winner today. Richard for sure with no points at all. But he keeps ahead of Dragovic despite him scoring today. It is now a 10th. So both Dams cars in the top 10. And of course, Dams, I believe, still leading the team's championship. I think they still do despite Prema scoring today. And did everyone score? Did everyone score bar bottom? Let's see. Yes, everyone has scored this season. That's kind of a cool thing because we had a couple of crazy races in Monaco. It is Dams that lead the way at the top of the team's standings ahead of Prema and Carlin. Probably to be expected. Except for Dams leading the constructors. That was probably the biggest surprise of all, but that's due to Callie Mayer's amazing consistency, but that consistency has been kind of dampened today. Falling down out of the top 8. Once Jehan Deruva took the lead, he never looked back, and Prema grabbed another win. But they've not had the whitewash they had last year. They've still got some ways to go, but they'll definitely take that one. We'll be back for the feature race tomorrow when Formula 2 returns.